the arrows were shot by an archer by the name of Kate Kim. Ever since the days of the high school archery club, he is the top-level archer that appeared in the Korean peninsula in 5 years. But during high school every month, his position would be stolen by talents that appeared after a few years. But he had dedicated his life to archery. His first 2 shots failed, but he will hit the target this time. With that being said, both his shots land on the chest of the Necromancer. Sungwoo tries to pinpoint the exact position of the sniper, but before he can think further, his head gets crushed with another arrow. Kate Kim says that the Necromancer should feel honored as he was killed by the top-level archer. But all of a sudden, the crushed bones of the Necromancer start to dissipate in the air. Sungwoo appears behind his minions, and he asks Kate Kim if that last headshot was shot with an ordinary arrow. Sungwoo came to the conclusion that they had only 4 holy arrows, which is why they are now using simple arrows. Kate Kim is completely shocked by this revelation. It was Hanho who suggested that Sungwoo should set up a dummy necromancer in case something like this happened. Back then, when Ji-Soo-yoon was absorbed by the painting, Hanho panicked a little bit. Sungwoo told him to get his act together as just Yoon is a ranker, and they could have only sealed her or teleported her with that item. All this time, Ji-Soo-yoon was deflecting the arrows that were targeted at Sungwoo, and Hanho asked him what he was going to do now about the arrows. Hanho suggests that they should let them use all of their special arrows by setting up a werewolf as a stand-in for Sungwoo. Sungwoo says that there are too many people watching them right now, but Hanho says that anyone can use magic while others are watching. He further informs Sungwoo that they have the best material to divert everyone's attention, and that special material turns out to be the Imugi minion. Sungwoo picks up one of the special arrows that were aimed at him. By reading its description, Sungwoo says that anyone can tell where this item came from just by holding it. This arrow is called the Divine Blood Arrow. This item was produced by a player. Its effects include concentrated divine power. It gives additional damage to undead attributes. It gives a fatal purification effect to the undead with a 2000% on-hit damage. Its description says this weapon was created after long research and improvements. Would you believe it if you were told that these were made by boiling 10 priests alive? It will deal a critical hit if used on the Necromancer's heart with the marker's skill. Kate Kim now knows well that they cannot stop the Necromancer anymore, and he needs to run away. But before he can even take a step back, Righty catches up to him. Righty ends the life of Kate Kim by shooting him with a pistol. Kate Kim was a fan of Righty, and these proved to be his last words. The Conflict Guild members are hiding in a forest, and they are not sure if they can stay hidden for longer. The Conflict Guild leader is pissed at the fact that the Necromancer can find them even in this thick forest. A lot of specters are flying above the forest. All Conflict Guild members fall under the Spectre Curse. They are now in a state of fear, and their movement speed is decreased by 30%. Sungwoo is watching them from above, and knowing this fact is making the Conflict Guild leader angrier. Sungwoo releases all of his flying-type minions with the Asura Hanho. Righty and the other goblin minions are wreaking havoc on the battlefield. The Conflict Guild members are not sure if they are going to get any reinforcements. The chairman previously told them that there is a large-scale reinforcement troop lying in wait, but the fact that it's not showing up even during an emergency situation like this one can only mean one thing. There were no reinforcements to begin with. The Conflict Guild leader is pissed at the chairman for abandoning them. At this rate, everyone is going to be taken out by the Necromancer, so the Conflict Guild leader orders Ijin to take out the box. While Ijin is preparing the box, the Conflict Guild leader says that maybe they should retreat, but there is nothing left for them, and they can't even return to the Taebaek Mountains. Jin asks him if they should make another attempt at the monster in the Taebaek Mountains, but the Conflict Guild leader shuns him. That monster is out of their league as well, and they leave Taebaek Mountains in order to run away from him. Finally, Ijin takes out the box with seals on it. The Conflict Guild leader devours an item from the box. This increases his power by several-fold, and he starts emitting a lot of berserk energy. The spirit of the mountains have spread throughout his whole body. All of his stats are increased by 15%. He gained an automatic healing effect of 5 regen per second. He gained the power of the mountain god, and his influence on the natural objects increased significantly. His affinity for all spirits increased drastically. All of a sudden, his body starts going through overexertion of energy. A warning message pops up stating that his stamina levels are lower than the acceptable level. The spirit of the mountain effect will be temporarily applied, but he will suffer terrible pain and severe penalties afterward. The spirit of the mountain has entered his body, and it is absorbing his stats. In the event of neglecting the current state for an extended time, he might end up facing death. The conflict guild leader is boiling from the inside as his power is overflowing. As he previously thought, his primary class strongman goes well with his linked class dark elementalist, and he should be able to win with this. With that being said, he jumps toward the minions of Sungwoo. With just a single Earth Shatter skill, he managed to kill a ton of minions. Minions are not the only ones who died with the Earth Shattering, as there were many Conflict Guild members who were swept away by that attack. The buffed-up Conflict Guild leader calls out the Necromancer for a 1 versus 1. He throws many insults at the Necromancer, saying that he is a piece of garbage who hides behind his minions, and he is not even fit to be a man. He then points out at the cameras, and he asks the audience at home if they are not curious about what the real power of the Necromancer is like. Sungwoo says that you are asking for a 1 versus 1 after trying every cheap trick in the box. There were many bastards like him who came before to fight him, just like now, but in the end, all they received was death at his hands. Conflict Guild leader says that he is different from him as he has survived thanks to his own skill and body, unlike the Necromancer who keeps hiding behind his skeletons. He points towards Sungwoo while asking if he can boldly say with his own mouth that he is strong. Sungwoo gets pissed, and he says, do he needs to say it loud? The Conflict Guild members who got swept away by the Earth Shatter are on the edge, and Ijin gets to them. He tries to help one of them, but this person turns out to be Hanho. Instead of thanking Ijin, Hanho punches his face. The survivors say that Hanho is the weakest among the Necromancer comrades, and they can somehow manage him. Hanho gets pissed, and he says that he is going to change this perception right here and right now. Hanho leaps toward them while activating his Asura arms. He then uses a skill called Ghostly Daggers, a fist of violence. Some of the players die after getting hit by the daggers, but the remaining players say that they should remain steadfast as Hanho must be from a thief class at best. Hanho gets buffed up after the kills, and the survivors become afraid after watching this form. Hanho thanks Admiral Chen for bestowing this power upon him. With that being said, Hanho pummels the surviving players with Asura fists. Hanho thinks that he is looking super cool right now, and even the broadcasters must be filming him right now. Maybe he will get a fan club like Sungwoo in the future. However, the broadcasters are focused on the fight between the Necromancer and the Conflict Guild leader. Something bizarre happened in that battle as Sungwoo already knocked out the buffed-up Conflict Guild leader. Sungwoo gives out a grim smile while saying that he already told him that many others tried to pull this head-on fight card on him, and now the Conflict Guild leader will soon lie with them. The Conflict Guild leader coughs up a lot of blood as he tries to say something. He is still confused about how he lost this fight. Even if there is a difference in levels, there shouldn't be much difference in stats since he got additional stats to even out the odds beforehand. Sungwoo is not sure, so he asks the Conflict Guild leader if he got more stats through side quests. The Conflict Guild leader is level 18, and he is ranked 10 in the Korean server. He thought that the bonus stats he got from various hidden quests would be enough to be compared to the top 3 rankers. Even if his stats were lacking a bit, he thought he would be able to overcome the Necromancer if he were to receive the Spirit of the Mountain. Before striking him down, Sungwoo informs him that he is not the only one who walked a dangerous path to get here. He is more like a frog in a pond who was stuck in the Taebaek Mountains. With that being said, Sungwoo strikes the Conflict Guild leader, chopping him into tiny pieces. Sungwoo earns 145,000 gold coins by killing a player who is in a demigod state. After witnessing the demise of their leader, other Conflict Guild members tremble in fear and throw their weapons. It's over for them, as their leader is dead, and they are no match for even the weakest of the comrades of the Necromancer. Ijin admits their defeat, and he begs the Necromancer to spare their lives. Sungwoo obtains a legendary consumable item called the Inner Pill of the Taebaek Mountains from the corpse of the Conflict Guild leader. The user of this item can obtain a huge increase in ability stats by accepting the spirit of the mountain. Also, the affinity for mastery over nature and energy increases drastically. This allows the player to occasionally gain power in the mountain demigod state. However, for a player to completely absorb it, they need a minimum vitality level of 80 or more, and the recommended level for its usage is 100. But Sungwoo already has his demigod state, which can create conflict and cause adverse effects. The description says that this inner pill was formed after someone unqualified forcibly ingested the demigod ginseng. Instead of gaining power, Their power was absorbed by the pill, thus resulting in a more strongly concentrated state after consuming the power of the conflict guild leader. This is the first time Sungwoo gets his hands on an item that can unlock the demigod state. Sungwoo asks Ijin about the girl. Ijin is not sure which girl he is talking about, so he tells him that he is inquiring about Jisoo-yun, the woman wearing the red tracksuit. Ijin calls her the human butcher lady by mistake. He opens up the divine landscape painting to show Sungwoo the location of Jisoo-yun. This painting is a legendary consumable item. It teleports the target to the painting's location, and right now it's on a cooldown of 96 hours. Sungwoo asks Ijin about this place, and Ijin informs him that it is the deepest place in the Taebaek Mountains. Sungwoo asks him if it's safe there since he heard them saying on a stream that they had already cleared up the whole Taebaek Mountains. Ijin informs him that it is partly correct, but cleaning up the whole mountain is a lie. They tried to exterminate the monsters, but the mountains were too deep, and monsters kept increasing in number and strength every day. They even started a power struggle, and in the end, one of them united the mountain range. From that point onwards, a being called the King of the Great Mountain Range was born. Sungwoo thinks that he never saw a being with the title of a king, and Ijin further informs him that they could never confirm its existence and that they only saw the quest message. They couldn't even handle the subordinates of that king, so they moved to a different area. Hanho asks him if that is the reason why they joined the Falling Devil faction. The Devil faction needed troops after the last war, and the Conflict Guild needed an area to migrate to. Sungwoo becomes a little bit worried after hearing it, as it is not a good idea to leave the growing monsters to themselves. Hanho asks Ijin if he has any other information, and if he is honest with them, then they will treat him better than other slaves by giving him alcohol and drugs. Ijin rejects his offer by saying that I am 18 and I don't want to break the law by drinking liquor. Both Hanho and Sungwoo are not sure if he is being honest about his age. Hanho becomes pissed at this young boomer, and he straightens him up by saying, "You are too young for drinking, but you have no remorse for plundering." At the same time, the Crusader Guild arrives at the scene. Sungwoo asks the prosecutor what he wants. Deep down, Sungwoo knows that this prosecutor is not someone who plays tricks like the Conflict Guild. The prosecutor informs him that their wide area surveillance team found a group from the Devil faction that was preparing for a sneak attack, and they had just finished suppressing them. The chairman ran away, so the Crusader Guild was thinking of eliminating the main base, but they came here to support Sungwoo. But looking at this place, it seems the situation is already settled here. The prosecutor already lost the dungeon raid, and he doesn't plan on losing again. It's not worth raiding by sacrificing guild members, but he will not miss this chance to completely destroy the Devil faction. The prosecutor informs Sungwoo that they will take care of clearing the battlefield for them. Sungwoo tells him that he has an offer to make. He will clear the Devil faction in the northern metropolitan area, and the Liberation Guild will be able to take hold of the metropolitan area without much effort. The prosecutor says that he is sure that this offer doesn't come for free, and Sungwoo must have something he wants from them. Sungwoo asks him to find information about the Taebaek Mountains through the wide area surveillance team of the Crusader Guild. He further informs the prosecutor that Jisoo-yun fell into the mountains due to the magic of the Conflict Guild, and they can't even reach her through the community server. The prosecutor quickly agreed to these terms. They both shake hands as they know that they are competitors, but they need some friends in these difficult times. At the same time, the reporter informs the audience that the Necromancer has won this battle, plus he even took the Yamugi cave boss as his minion, and it looks like even the prosecutor has acknowledged it. At the same time, the reporter levels up to 13. She has successfully completed the hidden quest of mobilizing 100,000 people on her stream. She is given an additional skill as a reward, and additional features have been opened up for her, like viewer sponsorship. The reporter becomes super excited after receiving these rewards. She thinks that if the Necromancer had given her an interview at that time, then she could have mustered up a larger audience. But before she can think further, Sungwoo comes up to them and asks them if he can say something through their broadcast. All guilds and influential people around the Korean server are super excited to find out what the Necromancer is about to say. Sungwoo flares up as he tells them that at the end of the day, he is going to destroy the main base of the Devil faction, and all of the viewers already know the reason why he is going to do it. The undead do not differentiate between people. They only differentiate between the alive and the dead. He warns the Devil faction members that if they don't want to die, then start running away with their families. And that's the only mercy he is going to show them. By tomorrow morning, there won't be a single soul left alive in the Devil faction. The reporter shakes in fear, and she begs the players around the area of the main base of the Devil faction to run away with their children and elderly. The reporter's assistant calls her out for something. It turns out the main base of the Devil faction is broadcasting, expressing their views about the Necromancer. Sungwoo is curious as well to find out what this broadcast is about. The security around the Devil faction's main base is quite strict. After a few hours, they spot Sungwoo and his wyverns. Sungwoo lands at their entrance, but his mood does not look good. Lee Minchul welcomes him, and previously, he used to run a shelter in this area. Sungwoo asks him if the things he said in the broadcast are true, and Lee Minchul confirms it. Lee Minchul tells him that they want to surrender unconditionally as the executives of the Reconstruction Alliance, including Chairman Lee, got scared and ran away. The common players in this place were being unwillingly controlled by the Reconstruction Alliance in the first place. So, he asked the Necromancer to understand their reason for forcibly participating in the plans of the Reconstruction Alliance. Sungwoo knows from this conversation that these guys are drawing a clear line between them and the Reconstruction Alliance. But Sungwoo is not interested in that small stuff, so he asks Minchul about the object. Mitchell leads the way after informing Sungwoo that they have kept it ready. The common folk of the Dark faction are afraid, as they all saw Sungwoo saying that he would even kill their children and women. Sungwoo thinks that he has at least left a strong first impression, although that might make him quite infamous. Thanks to that, he easily obtained the last piece. He finally got his hands on the Devil Stone statue, which is the final piece for the third faction's hidden quest. He had already destroyed 2 of the Absolute Race's statues, and now only one was left.